The tale of Genji, written by a Japanese woman called Murasaki Shikibu, is often considered as the first ever novel. And I am someone who is fascinated by the Japanese culture at large and Japanese literature in particular. Hello, I am Prajakta and welcome to my channel Dancing Bibliophile. Today, I am here with some interesting books written by Japanese authors. I'll be sharing 10 Japanese books, some of which I have read, while others I have heard really good reviews about. So without further ado, let's get started with the first book for today, The Cat Who Saved Books by Satsuki Natsukawa. This book tells us a story of Rintaro Natsuki, a high school student who has inherited a second-hand bookstore from his grandfather, and a mysterious talking cat named Tiger. It tells us about the adventures this odd pair goes on, as Tiger says, in order to save books from their neglecting owners. As they go on these adventures, Rintaro discovers a lot about his own self too. It's a great book for a person who either loves books or cats or both. The next one is quite famous book named Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. It is about a quirky cafe funicula where you can time travel if you sit at a particular table. But things are not simple as they sound, and a person has to follow a set of rules in order to successfully go back in time. The two books in the series contain heartwarming stories which make us think about the decisions we take in our lives at different points of time. The next one is actually a short story written by a famous Japanese author, Haruki Murakami, The Birthday Girl. This book was published to celebrate Murakami's 70th birthday. It is a strange tale about a waitress who is required to deliver dinner to a restaurant's reclusive owner, and the even stranger conversation that takes place between them. The fourth one is a book which I found most endearing, If Cats Disappeared from the World by Genki Kawamura. It is a story of a man who is terminally ill and decides to check off his bucket list. But he is granted a unique wish by the devil. In exchange of disappearing one thing, he can get 1 day more to live. Genki Kawamura's If Cats Disappeared from the World is a story of loss and reconciliation, of one man's journey to discover what really matters in a modern life. The fifth book for today is Malice by Kigo Higashino. It was the first book which I read from Japan. An acclaimed writer, Kunihiko Hidaka, is found murdered in his locked office by his wife and his best friend. Police detective Kyoichiro Kaga is needed to uncover the mystery of Hidaka's death. But as in usual murder mysteries, the story does not revolve around who or how, but rather why of the murder. It is a brilliant tale where a detective and the killer battle over the truth of the past and how all the events that led to the murder actually happened. Malice is one of the most acclaimed detective novels written by an Asian author and is definitely a must-read. Apart from these 5 books that I mentioned so far, there are a few about which I have heard really good things about and are high on my TBR list too. The books that I'll be recommending now are the ones which have been recommended the most to me. The first one is Kitchen by Banana Yoshimoto. It is the English language debut of this author and it is one of her best loved books. It is an enchanting story about mothers, love, tragedy, and the power of the kitchen and home in the lives of a pair of free-spirited young women in contemporary Japan. The next one is Convenience Store Women by Sayaka Murata. It has been on my TBR for quite a long time and I have seen this book all over Bookstagram. So Convenience Store Women is a story of 30-something Japanese woman who works at a convenience store and has little to no personal life. Even though she is happy in her mundane life, she does not abide by the usual Japanese societal norms and they affect her life. Quite a light read with more than just 150 pages. The next up is The Strange Weather in Tokyo by Hiromi Kawakami. It is a story of another 30-something woman, Tsukiko, who meets her high school teacher. As she couldn't recall his name, she decides to call him Sensei. As Tsukiko and Sensei continue to meet and their friendship deepens, Tsukiko comes to realize that the solace she has found with Sensei might be something more. Quite an interesting premise, and good reviews have really made me want to read it ASAP. The ninth book for today is The Memory Police. The inhabitants of an unnamed island living under an oppressive regime experience a form of collective gradual amnesia. This is a quiet, serene, personal sort of apocalypse where attempts at resistance are small and which culminates in the very destruction of the self. The Memory Police is a hypnotic, gentle novel that begins as a surveillance state dystopia and ends in something more existential, a surreal and haunting meditation on our sense of self. The next one is The Traveling Cat Chronicles by Hiro Arikawa. Nana, the cat, is on a road trip. He's not sure where he's going or why, but it means that he gets to sit in the front seat of a silver van with his beloved owner, Satoru. Side by side, they cruise around Japan through the changing seasons, visiting Satoru's old friends. I have loved the Japanese cat stories so far, and the particularly great reviews about this one have managed to convince me in reading this soon. So aren't these books really interesting? So which Japanese book are you going to read next? If you like this video, do give a thumbs up and share this video with all of your friends and family. And if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and make sure to hit the notifications bell so that you get notified every time I post a new video. You can check these two videos where I have recommended some other amazing books across genres. I will see you in the next video. Until then, keep reading. Bye-bye.